Hi, everyone. This is Alyssa back with another 5 things you need to know. Today, I'm joined by Susan Friedman, Senior Director for Publishing and Content Development here at NAEYC, who's going to share some information about the 4th edition, the new edition of Developmentally Appropriate Practices. Susan, thank you so much for joining me today. How about you start us off with the first thing we need to know about the 4th edition of DAP?
Thanks, Alyssa, and I'm so happy to be here to talk to you all about developmentally appropriate practice and the 4th edition of the book. One thing that I wanted to share about the 4th edition of the book is that it has 11 chapters, and each chapter, some chapters are authored by one author, some are authored by multiple authors, so there's more than 20 chapter authors who've contributed to this book. And the chapter authors all have a wide range of different areas of expertise and knowledge.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit more about the different areas of expertise that are covered in the book.
Well, we have a contributor who specializes in equity and thinking about Black boys. He's a faculty member. We have somebody who specializes in math. We have someone who specializes in literacy. We have specialists on play, child development. We have contributors who are teachers and classroom teachers. We have somebody whose specialty was working with infant toddlers. So there's just a wide range of different backgrounds and expertise, and represented by the authors and additional contributors who contributed sidebars, and also reviewers who provided feedback on content.
Wow, this is such a comprehensive text. So what tips do you have for someone who's trying to navigate this book for the first time?
So this is a pretty big book. I can hold it up. It's heavy. Let's see, can I get it? It's fuzzy. I'm trying to get it not to be fuzzy. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So it's not a book that you're going to sort of open up and put your feet up and read in one sitting necessarily. I mean, maybe somebody will, but so we have a couple of different ways to approach this book, and we've outlined them so that it will be helpful to readers. One is in the About This Book section. It talks about different chapters, because I mean, I think there are some chapters that you can really pick up and read through and then think about, and there are chapters where you might want to be taking notes and kind of thinking about it a little bit differently as you're reading each chapter. Each chapter has a set of beginning thought questions to help readers think about what they already know and what they want to know and how they want to engage with the book. And also online on the NAEYC website, we have a study guide for the DAP 4th edition of the book that also provides some ways to think about reading the book either by yourself or with a community of practice, and just how to approach different chapters and some ideas. And then we're going to be starting a thread on Hello where people can share some of their ideas for how they approached reading the book and some of their thought questions that might be helpful to others.
Awesome. I know that all of those pieces are going to be so helpful when people begin to dig into this book. So 11 chapters. Can you tell us a little bit more about the major focus for the chapters of the book?
So the chapters are organized a little bit differently than previously. The previous edition of the book, by itself, the whole book was organized by age. Here we have part 1, which is broadly about the principles of child development and learning, and then and also the core considerations, and part 2 of the book, which maps to the guidelines. And the age-specific content is within those guidelines, where there are charts in that second half of the book that are organized by age. We do have, as I mentioned, we have a section on the principles of child development and learning. We have 6 chapters, 1 for each of the guidelines, and a chapter on the core considerations. And there's also a chapter on play, a chapter on content knowledge, and a chapter on context and how one thinks about various contexts as you're making decisions about your teaching.
That's awesome. I love how developmentally appropriate practices connect so directly to our early learning program accreditation standards. I know our viewers who are accredited programs are going to really appreciate that too. So another area that I know this audience is interested in is equity. A few months ago, Rashi Sharma shared a segment on anti-bias education. How does the fourth edition address equity?
So equity is really embedded throughout the book. As I mentioned just previously, there is a chapter on context that does dive into thinking about teachers' own context and children's context, and that really does talk about equity. But equity is in every single chapter. There are examples related to equity. We mentioned the book is very closely connected to the equity position statement, NAEYC's Advancing Equity Position Statement. And there's thought questions related to equity. And so I do think you'll find examples of that throughout, because equity isn't really something that happens over there in addition to developmentally appropriate practice. It really is embedded. And a lot of the vignettes are also related to equity.
So speaking of vignettes, tell me a little bit more about the vignettes that are a part of this book.
So we have more than 80 vignettes in the book, and there is a section near the table of contents that sort of spells them out within each chapter, so you can get an idea of the different types of vignettes if you're looking for something specific. They're classroom examples or examples related to schools or in a few cases higher education, and they really describe a very specific scenario related to the chapter. And they take place in a wide range of settings. We have some that take place in family childcare homes, some in a public school, some in a childcare setting. And, and the vignettes show different things. Some of them are written by teachers. Some of them are written by the chapter authors based on observations they've known about or seen with teachers. And they demonstrate good practice and interesting things, and some of them are funny. And some of them also demonstrate some things that we really want educators to think about and do less of potentially as they're thinking about context. And so they provide a wide range of examples and really set the stage for deep discussions and reflections on one's own teaching.
Wow. So as someone who has seen many of these vignettes, I can definitely say that they will be a great addition to your program's professional development goals. I can see tons of applications for those in the work that many of you as program leaders are doing with educators every day. Well, thanks for joining us today, Susan. Where can folks go to learn more about the fourth edition of DAP?
On the NAEYC website, you'll find information about the fourth edition. There are a lot of supporting resources to help you use the book and information about the book itself.
Great. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.